Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron. We're at Everboard Gaming, and we're taking a look at Clustered by Sculpin Games.
So let's say you're going on a family trip, and you want to bring a game to a holiday gathering, or like on a picnic, or just to play at a restaurant while you're waiting for your food. What games would you bring? Because let's say, you don't want to bring Risk because that's way too long. You don't want to bring Monopoly because it's terrible. What would you bring?
Well, there's games like Zombie Dice, they're fun and quick. There's Love Letter, which is nice to play with a family, but I like Quirkle.
So Quirkle is a really great game that my family loves. We play it all the time at Thanksgiving and Christmas and other holidays where we're all gathered around the table.
The only time I've actually played Quirkle, I think, is at your family gatherings.
Yeah, it's a great light family game, and this game definitely fits into that bill as well. It looks a lot like Quirkle, and that was actually my initial impression of it. I looked at it like, oh, it's like Quirkle the card game. Cool. Mm-hmm. But it does have more to Quirkle. I would say if you like Quirkle, this is a great next step to take, just because there's a little bit more strategy because you're only playing one card at a time instead of playing all the tiles you want, and you can get a little bit more blocky because your rows aren't just these 6 or 7. I don't remember how many shapes Quirkle has, but they can just go on infinitely or however many cards you have. So you definitely do want to block people soon.
You're constantly trying to, decide if you want to block or if you want to score a point. And that's the struggle that you have. And you're trying to make these clusters, hence the name of the game, to get the points.
I was looking at the scoring of the game, and I was thinking, okay, you get 1 point per card that's in the row or in the rectangle. I was thinking, well, it would probably be better if it was on a sliding scale, because then I'd be more incentivized to block your big rectangle, because that's going to get you a whole bunch of points versus me coming over here and getting my, 4 in a row, because then I'm like, oh, well, then I'm just trading a point for a point, aren't I? But really, it doesn't work that way because it's kind of opportunity cost. Mm-hmm. Especially because you can actually card count, because we know that we each have 2 wilds in our personal decks. We can count how many wilds we have left. You can even count the symbols that are remaining. Towards the end of the game, that would get very difficult to try and card count and be like, wait, I think he doesn't have anything that he can put right here to stop this area. It would be very difficult to do that, but it is doable.
And I would say it's not even that difficult because if okay, there's 1 purple, 1 circle that's filled all the way in, and I see it on the board already. Mm-hmm. So it's...
I guess you go the other way and say, what card does he need? Is that already out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're smarter than me.
Yep. So I won.
That is why he crushed us.
I wouldn't say crushed. It wasn't like Champions of Midgard. And I don't want to scare you guys away talking about the strategy and the complexity because it really is a super easy game to learn. Mm-hmm. You could probably teach it in 30 seconds to a minute, especially if someone is a little bit more experienced. And by experience, I mean they've played Quirkle before, Not like, oh yeah, I'm nationally ranked in Catan,
Or played D&D for 20 years. No, you don't need anything like that. It's just
if they've taken
shapes and colors.
If they've taken middle school geometry, then they should be fine
at learning this game. Can't play this.
You don't have to match colors. And because you're trying to match 2 aspects of the card, shape, number, and fill, a lot of times, especially starting off, I keep trying to match color. I'm like, oh, it's the same shape and the same color.
Yeah.
Dang it.
That was Aaron's favorite rule to mess up.
And I would say it's not super detrimental to play a card wrong and be like, oh, well, now they know I have this card in my hand. Dang it. It's not heavy enough for that to be a big deal breaker for you.
Hidden information is not a huge part of this game.
No.
So you're right. It's really hard for you to make a mistake, and it really kind of ruined the game. You would never be like, oh, you did that. Okay, let's restart the whole thing. It's like, dude, pull that back in your hand. Well, kind of forget that you have that. I already did, and go for it. Yeah. Do something else.
Even just the fact that at the very end of the game, we realized that you were missing a card from your deck, one of your wilds, which can be a big deal. It didn't really matter all that much. We subs it with this little yellow one right here, and it all worked out. And you actually got extra points for it.
Yeah. It is important to say that this is a prototype. When you get your copy, you'll have both your wilds.
It's a big deal to try to get multiple points off every card. So your square was you're 1 card short of being identical to my square. However, so many of your lines only have 2 cards in them, and I had the 3 cards shooting off this way, and this way, and this way, such that this card scores me a point in this row, in this square, and in this row.
Having multiple 3s is better than having just one because I had I have a 9 or something over here, and it was a huge target.
Yeah.
You had all those 3s, and it was kind of deceiving because we weren't really paying. I mean, and the thing about it is, you had 3 3s, and I had 1 9, and you guys were like, "We got to stop that." Versus that, we weren't paying attention to it as much.
Especially because we all have identical decks, and you go until all the decks are gone. So unless you're getting multiple points off every card, there's no way to get more points than other people because we all have the identical number of cards and theoretically the identical number of opportunities to gain points.
And once I realized that I wasn't going to win, because I was like, oh, I can't get a big enough cluster, I'm just going to try and block people. So I just spent like my whole time like, okay, can I block? No, I can't block there. Can't block there. It was like a cluster.
Glad you got to see how Aaron's brain works.
So if you're looking for a new, interesting, abstract family game that's quick to play, doesn't take up a lot of room on your shelf, look at Getting Clustered.
So if you're watching this video on YouTube, we'll put a link to the Kickstarter campaign in this little eye that Wes is going to hold.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I got it.
If you're watching this video on Kickstarter,
Back button's up there. Regardless, this game definitely gets the Neverboard Gaming stamp of approval. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
finger guns.
Sup, nerds?
Sup,
Am I
nerds.
a nerd?
Hey, nerds. I don't want to interrupt you. Nerds. Oh, okay, fine. I'll catch the nerds when they come back later.